The legends speak of a journey. 10 years of wandering, a hero forged in trials. Odysseus, a name synonymous with resilience, with cunning. Now, in 2026, his epic voyage finally arrives on the silver screen. A blockbuster promise. But what if the grand narrative we anticipate is, in fact, incomplete? What if the very essence of his character, the heart of his legend, has been meticulously, deliberately, excised? We're not talking about minor details. We are talking about foundational moments. Pivotal exchanges. Fragments of humanity lost to the cutting room floor. The whispers are growing louder. Scenes, integral to the hero's identity, are conspicuously absent. Odysseus's epic journey is often framed by his desire to return home to Ithaca, to Penelope. A noble, singular focus. But what of the detours? What of the other lives he touched? The research suggests a profound omission: his romantic entanglements and progeny on the islands of Cilicia and Calypso. Imagine a hero, not just a survivor, but a father, a lover, bound by more than just his will to return. These aren't fleeting moments. These are years. Days blurring into months, months into a forgotten past. The film, it seems, chooses to streamline his journey, presenting a more solitary figure. But at what cost to his complex humanity? A hero stripped of his incidental tenderness. The emotional weight, unquantifiable, yet undeniably lighter. One of Odysseus's most iconic moments of strategic brilliance, the encounter with Polyphemus. Trapped, facing certain doom, he deploys a deception of pure genius. When the blind giant, Polyphemus, asks his name, Odysseus delivers the now legendary reply, "I am nobody." This isn't just a clever line, it's the foundation of his escape. When Polyphemus cries for help, claiming "nobody is hurting me," his fellow Cyclopes dismiss his pleas. A masterful psychological ploy. Yet, whispers indicate this pivotal scene, this hallmark of his cunning, is absent. A moment that defines his wit, his survival instinct. Vanished. What does this removal suggest about the film's portrayal of the hero? Does it diminish his legendary intellect? Our journey takes us further into the shadows, to the land of the dead. A reunion, not of celebration, but of profound, unsettling truth. Odysseus, encountering the mighty Achilles, observes, "You have become king here." A seemingly honorific title, yet Achilles' reply cuts deep, "I would rather be a slave than be king here." This statement, chilling in its stark honesty, challenges the very notion of power, of glory, in the afterlife. It speaks to the emptiness of death, even for a legendary hero. A vital philosophical anchor, hinting at the ephemeral nature of earthly achievements. Its exclusion from the film raises significant questions. Does it soften the harsh realities of mortality that Homer so vividly painted? Does it strip the narrative of a crucial, existential weight? Why these omissions? The answer, as always, is layered. A modern cinematic adaptation faces immense pressures: runtime, pacing, target audience. The multi-year relationships on distant islands, while adding depth, could slow the narrative flow, diverting focus from the primary quest. The nobody trick, while clever, might be perceived as too slow a build-up in a blockbuster landscape driven by rapid action. And Achilles' philosophical lament? Perhaps deemed too melancholic, too existential for a broad audience seeking heroic triumph. These are choices. Calculated decisions. But every decision, every cut, carries a consequence. What does the film gain by streamlining? And what, irrevocably, does it lose? Consider the cumulative effect. Without the forgotten families, Odysseus becomes less a man burdened by complicated affections, more a singularly driven archetype. His humanity, his flaws, perhaps minimized. Without the nobody trick, a cornerstone of his legendary cunning, his intellect is less spectacularly demonstrated. He becomes more reliant on physical prowess, less on wit. And without Achilles' stark pronouncement, the film potentially avoids the bleak, unvarnished truth of mortality that underscores so much of the original epic. Is this a new Odysseus? A more palatable, perhaps less challenging, version for the 21st century? Or simply a hero stripped of the very complexities that made him timeless? The Odysseus, 2026, aims for grandeur. For spectacle. For the epic scale we crave. But in excising these potent, character-defining moments, does it risk losing something more profound? The story of Odysseus isn't just about monsters and gods, it's about the trials of the human spirit, the wisdom gained, the sacrifices made, both seen and unseen. The film may deliver a thrilling adventure, yet the absence of these specific scenes suggests a narrative that has, in some way, been simplified. A hero, perhaps, less flawed, less cunning, less tragically wise. The question remains, will audiences truly connect with a hero whose most nuanced, most human, and most brilliant moments remain on the cutting room floor? The answer, perhaps, lies in the shadows of what could have been. A mystery waiting to unfold.